If you've been telling yourself that you can't get into shape because work has been too busy and chaotic, I get it. The long meetings, the constant deadlines, the stress that never seems to end. And when you finally get a moment to breathe, it's the easiest thing to do is go to the office kitchen and grab some snacks. At least that's what I did. I thought the same thing that you probably do. And what I discovered is that it wasn't that I was too busy, it was that I didn't have an approach that actually fit my life. When I started waiting for the right time to focus on my health, there was never really the right time. Work never really calmed down. There was always something that my brain wanted to keep working towards and never working on something for myself. So my energy was constantly low. I was irritable. I was drained by mid-afternoon. And honestly, my confidence was taking hits in ways that affected my work performance, my relationships, and even how I showed up for myself. And that's when I discovered a new method that absolutely changed everything. With this method, I was able to lose 10 pounds while still working 50-plus-hour weeks at a corporate job. I'm someone who genuinely loves food. I used to emotionally eat a lot every night. After a tough day of work, I would walk across the street to Publix and load up on family-sized bags of Doritos, cookies, donuts, whatever was in the dessert section. And then I'd go home and turn on Netflix, Korean drama, and go to sleep and do that all over again. So I know what it feels like to be stuck in that pattern where you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. You might be thinking, I just can't make this work. My schedule is too busy. I'm at my desk all day with no time to think about healthy eating, and I don't have the energy to meal prep on the weekends. By the time I get home, cooking feels impossible. All of these feelings make complete sense. Work is generally demanding, and the stress is real. The easiest options are literally everywhere when your company office has all the snacks in the world. It's super easy, just chomp on those or go on the deli or fast food on the way home from your commute. I'm not here to tell you that those challenges aren't real. They absolutely are. But the shift that changed everything for me was I realized that the obstacle wasn't my schedule. The real issue is that I was trying to force myself to make different choices while still seeing myself as someone who emotionally eats or someone who struggles with food. And when your actions don't match who you believe you are, it creates this internal battle of willpower. That's why it always feels like this uphill battle, that constant struggle and grind. Because the willpower, you're not gonna win with that. So what I discovered is that it's less about having more time, and it's more about changing the story that you're telling yourself. When you see yourself as someone who struggles with food, your brain naturally looks for ways to confirm that story. So when work gets stressful, reaching for the snacks feels automatic. When you're tired, ordering takeout feels like the only option. Not because you don't have willpower, but that's just who you believe yourself to be. So you take those actions. When you start to shift how you see yourself to, I'm someone who takes care of my body, the choices start to feel easy. And it is a process. You're not fighting with yourself anymore. You're being consistent with this new version of you. This is the method that I use called identity first fat loss. Instead of jumping straight into the strict diets that I could never stick to, and then I would always rebound and binge like crazy, it's because deep down, I always believed myself to be that emotional eater who would use food to cope with the stress. I went from being someone who couldn't resist the office snacks to someone who could actually make choices based on what serves my body and my goals. You stop fighting against this constant uphill battle and start seeing it as learning to take care of your body because that's who you are. But it isn't about eating perfectly or restricting yourself forever. It's about learning to enjoy food, but also being aware and staying in control. You can keep waiting for that perfect moment for work to finally calm down, or you can start realizing that you are capable of taking care of yourself right now in the middle of everything else. And losing 10 pounds might not seem like this crazy transformation, but here's what it really represents. It's that it's proof that you're not actually stuck. You can create change. Your circumstances don't have to define you. Your environment doesn't have to define you. Once you prove that to yourself and your body, something shifts. And you start believing that you can do it in other areas of your life too. Your career, your relationships, your whole life. Cheers.